that I saw 2 years ago in Florence that I loved, that he went back for it and found it. Somebody bought it, he found it, bought it from them, and he proposed with that.
She needed to escape her parents' famous shadows. Lexi's world is far from the Hollywood tale she was born into. With a supermodel mother and a rock legend father, her childhood was anything but ordinary. The expectations were sky high, yet Lexi longed for a life of her own. Did she succeed in creating her own identity? And what is she doing now? Join us as we reveal what Iman and David Bowie's daughter looks like at 26. Try not to gasp. That outshined fame. In a world where celebrity marriages often crumble under pressure, David Bowie and Iman built one of Hollywood's most genuine love stories. They shared a bond that only grew stronger over time. Their story began in the 1990s, when friends set them up on a blind date in Los Angeles. Iman had no plans to stay long in the city. She was a global supermodel, always on the move. But destiny had other ideas. She once joked that if fate hadn't pushed her to LA, she might never have met the man who would change her life. When Bowie saw her for the first time, he instantly knew she was the one. It was love at first sight for him. But for Iman, it took a little longer. She needed a few months to catch up, and Bowie didn't mind waiting. He courted her in the most romantic ways, sending flowers to her Paris hotel after she walked a runway show and greeting her at the airport when she returned. By the time they got married in 1992, both had already lived extraordinary lives. Bowie was a music legend, and Iman was one of the most famous models in the world. They had each been married before, so they knew what they wanted this time. To outsiders, they looked like a glamorous couple made for red carpets, but in truth, they preferred quiet nights at home in New York City. Bowie, surprisingly, was more of a homebody than Iman. Despite being global icons, they fiercely protected their family's privacy. Their home was a sacred space no camera could enter. Their chemistry was undeniable. Bowie once admitted he couldn't sleep the night before their first date because he was too excited. He called Iman intolerably sexy, while she described him as beyond handsome and full of charm. Together they seemed untouchable, two people who understood the madness of fame but found peace in each other's company. What kept their relationship strong was how real it was. Iman didn't fall for the rock legend David Bowie. She fell for David Jones, the man behind the persona. While Bowie might not be with us today, the product of their timeless love continues to shine through their beautiful daughter, Alexandria Zahra Jones. Is she anything like her amazing parents? Welcoming their little miracle. It was a morning that changed everything for David and Iman. Their first child together, Alexandria, made her grand entrance just after 5 a.m., weighing a healthy 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Bowie, always the showman, was right there in the delivery room, and yes, he even cut the umbilical cord himself. The couple's joy had been a long time coming. In an interview, Iman shared that she had almost given up hope of becoming pregnant. She admitted that she tried to get pregnant for a year and a half, then she just stopped thinking about it, and that's when it finally happened. It was the best surprise ever. Both had children from previous relationships. Bowie with his son Duncan, from his marriage to Angie Bowie, and Iman with her daughter Zuleika, then 22. But Alexandria's arrival brought a special kind of happiness that seemed to light up their world. Growing up in New York City, Lexi could have easily stepped into fame, yet she chose privacy over publicity, a path her mother strongly encouraged. Iman, who spent decades in the limelight, wanted something different for her daughter. She knew too well how fame can swallow up youth, and she made sure Lexi had time to just be herself before the world came calling. That decision proved wise. When on Lexi's 18th birthday, Iman shared a few rare photos of her online. Overnight, modeling agencies and fashion brands came knocking. The offers were tempting, but Iman wasn't ready to let her daughter dive into that world. In a past interview, she had explained that she preferred her daughter to have a private life before stepping into the public eye. She was quoted as saying that fame would always be there waiting, but the peace of being unknown was something that could not be regained once lost. Those who followed Lexi's journey noted that, although she avoided the camera, she had inherited her parents' artistic talents. Instead of music or modeling, she had turned to painting and illustration. On social media, Lexi often shared glimpses of her creative world, artworks filled with bold colors, strange figures, and abstract forms. Many of her fans described her pieces as imaginative and emotional, reflecting both calm and mystery. According to her personal website, Lexi viewed her art as a kind of meditation. She had reportedly hoped that by sharing her paintings, she could inspire others to find comfort and meaning in their own creativity. Some of her artwork had even been printed on everyday items like tote bags and clothes, transforming her passion into something tangible. Sources also mentioned that Lexi had explored other creative paths, including poetry and music. In 2021, she shared a short clip of herself singing an original song. In her caption, she confessed that she was nervous about posting it, explaining that she couldn't decide whether she liked it or not. She also admitted that it was only a rough, drunken recording of a song she felt proud of on certain days. Her honesty and humility made fans admire her even more. Those close to her family said that Lexi continued to hold a deep connection to her late father. Every year, she quietly honored his memory online. On the 7th anniversary of Bowie's death in 2023, Lexi posted a touching video from her childhood showing her playing the keyboard beside her father, followed by a sweet photograph of the two huddled together under an umbrella. Her short caption had read, "7 years ago today, I miss you." It was a simple statement, but it carried deep emotion that resonated with Bowie's fans around the world. As she moves through her 20s, Lexi is continuing her creative journey, choosing a path of calm expression rather than public fame. Many had observed that she was quietly building her own identity, different from her parents, yet clearly shaped by their artistic influence. But does she have going on for herself? Definitely not following Mummy's footsteps. Lexi Jones seemed to be stepping into a brighter chapter of her life. Reports revealed that the now 25-year-old had shared photos online showing her new relationship with British musician Sonny James last year. The pictures, which she posted on Instagram, showed the two enjoying a picnic under the sun, and she was said to have captioned them with one simple word: besotted. Lexi appeared relaxed and happy, dressed casually in a denim skirt and a purple bikini top. Her brown hair was loose and wavy as she sat on a picnic rug, gazing at Sonny. Another clip showed the pair singing together in a small bar while he played the guitar, giving fans a glimpse of their growing bond. Lexi mentioned that her openness about love was a new beginning, especially after years of private struggles following her father's death. She had tried to fill an emotional emptiness in harmful ways and found herself drawn into dark situations. She confessed that her grief had made her lash out at loved ones, labeling herself as broken rather than face her feelings. That anger had taken over the sweet, gentle nature she once had, and that realization had pushed her toward change. Lexi eventually found healing through music. Despite being surrounded by fashion from an early age, she had refused to follow her mother's path into modeling. Iman once revealed that nearly every major agency had wanted to sign her daughter, but Lexi had turned them all down. The supermodel explained that her daughter had seen through their motives, believing they were more interested in her famous last name than her actual talent. Lexi was said to have poured her energy into her passion for music instead. Earlier this year, she released her debut album, Xandri, which reflected her emotions and thoughts in deeply personal lyrics. Around that same period, she shared a heartfelt poem on social media that spoke about the challenges of living in her father's shadow. In the poem, Lexi expressed that people often compared her to her father, expecting her to live up to his legacy. She had written that she wasn't trying to chase what he had already achieved, and that by simply doing what she loved, she already felt victorious. She had described herself as an individual finding her own rhythm, emphasizing that she wasn't trying to replace or imitate him. Fans interpreted her words as a declaration of independence, an honest reminder that she was carving out her own space in the world. Her message of self-acceptance and creativity seemed to resonate deeply with those who had followed her journey since childhood. Lexi was finally at peace with who she had become. She understood that the comparisons would never completely disappear, but had learned not to let them define her. In her poem, Lexi had ended with a statement that captured her outlook perfectly. She wasn't trying to fill her father's shoes. She was simply trying to find her own peace, and from all indications, she seemed well on her way to doing just that. Fans have often wondered how things are with her half-brother. Does Lexi have a good relationship with Duncan, the son who found his own stage? David Bowie's story had many chapters, but one of the most meaningful began when he and Angie welcomed their only child, Duncan Zoe Jones, on May 30, 1971, in England. During his early years, he was known as Zoe Bowie, but as he grew older, he preferred to be called Duncan, choosing to walk a different path from his famous father, just as Lexi walked away from her mom's. People close to the family said Duncan had lived in different parts of the world while growing up and attended some of the best schools. He studied at a top boarding school in Scotland before moving to the United States, where he pursued philosophy at a small college in rural Ohio. Afterward, he reportedly began a PhD at Vanderbilt University, but left before completing it. Those who knew him said that books alone couldn't satisfy his creative side, so he turned to filmmaking instead. When Duncan returned to England, he was believed to have enrolled at the London International Film School to learn the craft of directing. He graduated in 2001, ready to build something that belonged entirely to him. 8 years later, he released his first feature film, Moon, starring Sam Rockwell. The movie was praised for its originality and emotional depth, and soon after, Duncan received a BAFTA award for Outstanding Debut by a British writer, director, or producer. During the film's premiere at the Sundance Film Festival, Duncan had spoken about how meaningful the moment was for him and his father. He had mentioned that his father had waited patiently for him to find his purpose in life, and that he was grateful for the freedom to discover it in his own time. After Moon, Duncan continued making his mark in Hollywood. He went on to direct Source Code in 2011, a science fiction thriller starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and later Warcraft: The Beginning in 2016, a fantasy adventure featuring Travis Fimmel, Ben Foster, and Dominic Cooper. His work showed that he was no longer just David Bowie's son, but a filmmaker with his own creative vision. People close to Duncan revealed that he and his father had remained close, even while living in different countries. They were said to have spoken regularly over Skype, sharing updates about life and work. Duncan reportedly said that his father never asked to see early cuts of his films and preferred to watch the final versions, always offering support and encouragement. Duncan's personal life also carried moments of both joy and heartbreak. In 2012, he got engaged to photographer Rodney Ronquillo, who often captured his portraits for magazines and documented his movie press tours. Not long after their engagement, Rodin was diagnosed with breast cancer in her early 30s. Friends said that the couple decided to elope quietly and face the battle together. After her surgery and chemotherapy, they built a strong marriage and later welcomed 2 children. In early 2016, Duncan shared deeply emotional news online. He had said it had been 1 month since his father's death and that he and his wife were expecting a baby in June. His post had read, "Circle of Life. Love you, Granddad." A simple message that carried both grief and hope. That summer, on July 10, 2016, Duncan became a father when his son, Stenton David Jones, was born, 6 months after Bowie's passing. Many noted the touching tribute in his son's middle name, keeping a part of his father's legacy alive. Relationship-wise, Duncan Jones and Lexi Jones share a warm and affectionate bond that goes beyond the typical sibling relationship. Despite their 30-year age gap, Duncan often describes his connection with Lexi as that of a fun uncle. He loves making her laugh and has shared light-hearted stories, including how he introduces himself to her friends as her brother from another mother. Their relationship is also strengthened by a shared sense of loss. Over the years, Duncan has built a meaningful connection with his stepmother, Iman, and Lexi, especially after becoming estranged from his own mother, Angie Bowie. This closeness has created a strong family bond that has carried them through difficult times. Their affection for each other has also been visible to fans. In August 2021, Lexi posted a touching throwback photo of herself and Duncan on Instagram, giving followers a glimpse into their sweet and enduring sibling relationship. But the family's warmth doesn't end there. Just months later, another heartfelt moment captured fans' attention, this time from their mother, Iman. Could this quiet celebration have been her way of honoring the past while embracing the future? A milestone and memories from the past. When supermodel Iman turned 70 on July 25th, she marked the milestone with gratitude. Fans said she had shared a thoughtful post on Instagram expressing how thankful she felt for another year of life. She was reported to have posted an inspiring quote about gratitude, suggesting that simply saying thank you in life was enough. Alongside the quote, she mentioned feeling grateful for another journey around the sun, adding a birthday hashtag for her nearly 1 million followers. While Iman continues to honor her life and the memories she shared with her late husband, David Bowie, another woman who played a major role in Bowie's past is also remembered. His first wife, Angie Bowie. Their story began decades before Iman entered the picture, and it was one filled with chaos, creativity, and heartbreak. In 1969, a 19-year-old Angie met a young David Bowie in London through a record executive named Calvin Mark Lee. Around that time, she attended one of David's early shows at the Roundhouse, where his band, The Feathers, performed. A few months later, the two met again, went out for Chinese food, and later danced together at a nightclub. Those close to her said that after their first night together, Angie had noticed how quickly he left the next morning, something she later described as typical of him. She once explained that David used intimacy as a way to mark his space, and from that night on, their connection became less about romance and more about a strange mix of friendship and artistic partnership. Soon after, Angie became deeply involved in David's creative world. She reportedly listened to the early demos that would form his future albums and even helped him shape the bold, glittering persona of Ziggy Stardust. She was known to have said that she didn't mind David's many lovers as long as everyone understood her place as the queen of his life. The two married on March 19, 1970, in Bromley, England. Their relationship was anything but traditional. Angie later claimed that they had already agreed to keep things open even before they married, and this continued after the wedding. According to her, their relationship often included other partners, and she described herself as someone who never belonged to one person. Offers of affection reportedly came from both men and women, and for David, the attention was overwhelming. Angie revealed that they had both admitted to being bisexual early in their relationship and accepted each other's choices without question. Though outsiders saw them as a glamorous pair, their marriage was unpredictable and often tense. Angie once admitted that she hadn't married David for love, but for practical reasons, mainly to get a work permit in the UK. She said that before the wedding, David had told her that he wasn't truly in love with her, and she thought that honesty might make things easier. Ironically, she believed that he eventually did fall for her, because he became furious when their relationship began to collapse. Despite the drama, they supported each other's work and remained major figures in London's growing glam rock scene. Angie's bold personality and style soon earned her a reputation of her own as a model and actress. In 1971, she gave birth to their only child, Duncan Jones, who would later become an award-winning filmmaker. David was said to have been thrilled about fatherhood, even while juggling his growing fame. But as the years passed, the marriage began to crumble under the weight of drugs and fame. Angie later said that David's cocaine use had spiraled out of control, describing how he would call her in paranoid states, claiming he was being held hostage by witches and a warlock. She remembered rushing from London to Los Angeles to help him, fearing for his safety as he sank deeper into drug-fueled delusions. She revealed that cocaine had stopped being a party drug for him. It had become something far darker. By 1980, the strain was unbearable. Angie said David eventually told her that they needed to divorce to be free from each other. Yet even their split was far from ordinary. After agreeing to separate, they reportedly spent 3 intense days together, reconnecting physically one last time before parting ways. Angie said she felt liberated afterward, happy to finally make her own decisions and no longer live under the demands of his fame. The divorce left her with a €500,000 settlement, but also a painful decision. She allowed David to take full custody of their son. Why did she make that life-changing decision and risked her relationship with her son? The woman who walked away from stardom and started over. When Angie Bowie ended her marriage to David Bowie, her decision stunned many. She chose to leave their son Zoe in his father's care. Those close to her said she had explained that she didn't want a messy custody battle, believing that staying out of conflict might even help keep David alive. She had reportedly felt that taking care of their son could give him a reason to stay grounded, though she admitted it had been the hardest decision of her life. Friends said Angie had struggled deeply with the choice. She was believed to have told herself repeatedly that she couldn't escape with her son because Bowie would have fought her for custody, making life unbearable for the boy. She had convinced herself that she could always have another child, though those around her said it was clear the loss weighed heavily on her heart. Years later, Angie reportedly shared that she had seen Duncan until he reached his early teens. Their visit stopped when he no longer wanted to stay with her. He had grown up surrounded by luxury with his father and found it hard to adjust to her small New York apartment above a restaurant. She had understood why children preferred comfort and familiarity, yet it was said that she looked genuinely hurt whenever she spoke about their distance. Duncan once admitted in an interview that he didn't really have a relationship with his mother and didn't spend much time thinking about it. Angie, on her part, revealed that he had written to her some years back, which she appreciated, but after sending him gifts, she never heard from him again. She had said there wasn't much she could do. He was an adult now, and insisted that it wasn't something she dwelled on. But when asked if it made her sad, she had dodged the question before claiming she didn't believe in sadness or weakness. Still, she confessed that she cried alone sometimes. When the divorce was finalized, Angie walked away with so little compared to Bowie's massive fortune. She had reportedly said she didn't care much about the marriage itself, describing it as something that had been necessary for her to get a work permit. What really angered her was losing her share in managing Bowie's career, as she believed she had played a huge role in his success. After the split, Angie's emotions spiraled. She admitted to numbing her pain with drugs and alcohol, saying she had tried to dull the constant sting of her feelings. Her turning point came with the birth of her daughter Stacia, whose father was musician Drew Blood, also known as Andrew Lipka. Angie's relationship with him lasted 3 years, but it was her daughter who brought her stability. She was said to have called Stacia her little pal, claiming that once she had her, she didn't need anyone else. Motherhood the second time around was easier for Angie. She had suffered postnatal depression after Duncan's birth and often felt she had failed him. Even though she had tried to justify her decision to leave him, she admitted that it had haunted her for years. She had spent many nights crying, torn between her love for her son and the pain of staying in a toxic situation. Over time, Angie found peace in her relationship with Michael, a construction engineer who had been her partner for over a decade. She once said that his kindness reminded her of her father's, and that after years of anger and disappointment, she simply needed someone to be gentle with her. She also confessed that in her younger days, she had believed she could fix men, but later realized that no one could change another person. She wondered aloud if her intense personality had driven both Bowie and Lipka deeper into their addictions. With Michael's support, Angie started rebuilding her life. She went back to college to improve her research skills while working on a book titled Pop Sex, which explored human behavior and relationships. She described it as a project that completely absorbed her. She also released a music album, Moon Goddess, began working on a science fiction film, and even co-founded a construction company with Michael in Arizona. In interviews, Angie claimed to be happy with the life she had built. She rarely thought about her past with Bowie unless asked, and said that aging didn't bother her. She believed that thinking too much about getting older only made people feel it. She often said she still looked fabulous, a statement that many agreed with. Could there be a reason why Duncan and Lexi both chose a life away from the spotlight? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.